I've been driving for Uber for almost 2 years now. You see everything in this job. Drunk college kids, couples fighting, businessmen who don't say a word the entire ride. After a while, nothing really surprises you. This happened last November. It was a Thursday night. Cold, quiet, the kind of night where the streets feel empty, even in a busy city. It was around 12:47 a.m. I remember the exact time because I almost logged off. The ride request popped up just as I was about to head home, 15 minutes away. Pickup location, a small residential neighborhood near the edge of town. The kind with older houses, minimal streetlights, and long driveways. The name on the account was Elias, but I was tired and the fare estimate was decent, so I accepted. When I pulled into the neighborhood, it was dead silent. No cars parked on the street, no lights on in most houses. The app led me to a 2-story house at the very end of a cul-de-sac. Only one porch light was on. I parked at the curb and waited. 1 minute passed, then 2. I was just about to message, "I've arrived," when I saw the front door slowly open. A man stepped out, wearing a dark hoodie and jeans. He didn't look drunk or rushed. He just stood there for a moment on the porch. Then he walked toward the car. Something felt off immediately, not in a dramatic way. Most riders check the license plate before getting in. He didn't. He opened the back door and got in without saying a word. "Hey," I said, trying to sound normal. "Elias?" After a small pause, he said, "Yeah." His voice was quiet. I started the trip. The destination was already entered, about 25 minutes away. An industrial area near the old warehouses by the river. Strange drop-off location for almost 1 a.m., but I've driven people to weirder places. We drove for about 5 minutes in silence before I tried making small talk. "Heading home?" I asked. He said, "No." That was it. I caught his reflection in the rearview mirror. He wasn't looking at his phone. He was looking at me. Not aggressively, just staring. I looked away quickly and focused on the road. The route change about 10 minutes into the ride, the Uber app suddenly said, "Route updated." I frowned. Riders can change destinations mid-trip, but usually they say something. The new route shaved off about 5 minutes and took us through a darker back road near the river instead of the main highway. "Did you update the address?" I asked. He said, "No." Now I started to get worried. "Sometimes the app glitches," I muttered, trying to convince myself. "But I drive that area all the time. The original route was normal. This new one cut through a stretch that barely had streetlights." I should have ignored it and stayed on the highway, but I followed it. About halfway down the dark road, he finally spoke again. "Do you ever get scared driving at night?" The way he said it made my hands tighten on the steering wheel. "Not really," I lied. Then he said very calmly, "You should be." I forced a small laugh. "Why's that?" He didn't respond. I checked the mirror again. He wasn't smiling. A few minutes later, I noticed headlights in my rearview mirror. A car had turned onto the road behind us. That wasn't strange by itself, but what was strange was how close it got. Within seconds, it was tailgating me. I sped up slightly. It sped up too. My heart started pounding. "Do you know that car?" I asked. He said no. The car behind us flashed its high beams twice, then 3 times. The passenger leaned forward slightly. "Don't pull over," he said quietly. I hadn't even said I would. "Why would I?" I asked. "Just don't." His voice had changed. It was sharper now. The car behind us swerved slightly like it was trying to look into my vehicle. I felt trapped. Suddenly, my passenger said, "Turn left here." "There's no road there," I said. He said, "There is." I slowed down. There was a narrow gravel path I'd never noticed before. No street sign. "I can't take this," I said. "It's not on the route." His tone hardened. "Turn left." The car behind us was getting even closer. My brain was racing. If I kept going straight, the tailgating car stayed with us. If I turned, I'd be on some unmarked road with this guy in the back seat. That's when something clicked. The car behind us had been too perfectly timed. It appeared right after the route changed. They were working together. Instead of turning left, I slammed my foot on the gas. The engine roared. The car behind us tried to keep up, but I drive a V6 Charger. It's fast when it needs to be. My passenger shouted, "What are you doing?" I ignored him and sped toward the main highway about a mile ahead. The car behind us stayed close for a few seconds. Then suddenly, it stopped chasing. It slowed down and turned around. The silence in my car was deafening. My passenger leaned back slowly. "You missed the turn," he said coldly. "I'm ending the ride," I replied, my voice shaking despite trying to sound firm. He didn't argue, but he didn't get out either. I pulled into the brightest, busiest gas station I could find and parked right under the lights near the entrance. "I'm ending the trip," I said again. "You need to get out." For a long moment, he didn't move. Then he said something I will never forget. "You weren't the first driver tonight." I said, "What?" He opened the door slowly, and then he stepped out. He didn't even look back. He just walked across the parking lot and disappeared into the darkness beyond the lights. I reported everything to Uber immediately. They told me they'd investigate. The account was gone the next day. Out of curiosity, and maybe stupidity, I checked local news the following week. There was a short article about a rideshare driver who had gone missing 2 towns over. That was the night I stopped driving after midnight. It was November 18th, 2023. Cold, not snowing yet, but that kind of cold that makes the air feel metallic when you breathe it in. I'd been driving for Uber for about 8 months at that point. Nights paid better, especially weekends. I wasn't doing it for fun. My hours at my warehouse job had been cut, and I needed rent money. That night had been normal. A middle-aged couple arguing in the back seat, one quiet airport run. Around 1:47 a.m., I got a pickup request. 5 stars, new account, no profile picture. Pickup location was weird. A park on the edge of town, not a popular one. It bordered a stretch of wooded area and an industrial strip with abandoned buildings. I'd driven past it before during the day. At night, it was pitch black. When I pulled up, there was no one there. The park lights were off, just one flickering lamp near the entrance. I waited. 30 seconds later, my back door opened. He didn't say hello, didn't ask if I was his driver. He just got in and closed the door. I looked in the rearview mirror, mid-30s maybe, short dark hair. The app showed the drop-off address, a residential neighborhood about 20 minutes away. Suburbs, normal. I started driving. For the first 5 minutes, he didn't speak. No phone out, no music request, no small talk. Then he said, "You've been driving a lot tonight." I laughed lightly. "Yeah, gotta make that weekend money." "No," he said. "I mean this week." Something about the way he said it made it creepy. "How do you know that?" I asked. "I've seen you around." That didn't make sense. My driving zones changed constantly. I didn't have regular routes. I checked the mirror again. He was looking out the window. 10 minutes into the ride, my phone buzzed. A notification. Another ride request queued. But then I noticed something weird. The current ride, Daniel's ride, disappeared from the screen. It just said, "No active trip." I glanced down quickly. The GPS route was gone. The drop-off address was gone. The app looked like I hadn't picked anyone up. I swallowed. "Hey man," I said casually, "the app just crashed. Can you confirm your drop-off address?" Then he said, "You don't need the app." I felt actual heat rush into my face. "I know the way," he said. That's when I realized something. We were no longer heading toward the original direction I remembered. When I first accepted the ride, I glanced at the map. It was northeast. But now, we were heading west, toward the industrial area. I never turned that way. "Sorry, I think I made a wrong turn," I said quickly, trying to sound normal. "Let me reroute." "No," he said softly. "Keep going." My brain started racing. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe the app crashed. But why would the trip disappear completely? And why hadn't he asked about it? Most passengers would be checking their phone. He hadn't looked at his once. Not even once. I picked up my phone from the dash mount like I was adjusting it. No service. 0 bars. That made no sense. I'd had full signal 5 minutes ago. "Signal's bad out here," he said quietly. My throat went dry. How did he know I was checking? We were now driving down a road that led toward abandoned warehouses. There were no houses, just long stretches of darkness. I made a decision. I slowed down and flicked my hazard lights on. "Car's overheating," I said. "I need to pull over for a second." He leaned forward slightly, and for the first time, his voice changed. "You don't want to stop here." My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my ears. I pulled over anyway. The second the car stopped, I unlocked my door, stepped out, and pretended to check the hood. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. Still no service. I walked around to the passenger side slowly. He hadn't moved. He was, watching me. "Yeah," I said loudly, trying to project confidence. "I'm gonna cancel the ride. You'll need to request another one." He didn't answer. Instead, he slowly opened his door and stepped out. I won't forget that moment for the rest of my life, because when he stood up, I realized something chilling. He hadn't ordered the ride from that park. That park was just a place he knew drivers would come to, because as he stood there in the dim light from my headlights, I saw another phone in his hand. Not the kind you call from, the kind that records. He held it down by his side, pointed at me, recording. "You've been driving alone all night," he said quietly. My body went numb. That's when I heard it. Another car engine, somewhere behind us. Headlights turned on in the distance. They hadn't been there before. My brain snapped into survival mode. I didn't say anything. I didn't confront him. I just got back into my car as calmly as I could, locked the doors, and floored it. He didn't chase me, didn't scream. He just stood, watching. As I drove away, I looked in the mirror one last time. The second car had pulled up beside him, and someone got out. I didn't stop driving until I reached a gas station 15 minutes away. Full signal came back instantly. I checked the app. There was no record of Daniel, no completed ride, no canceled ride, nothing, like it never happened. I contacted Uber support immediately. They told me there had been no trip assigned to me at 1:47 a.m., but I remember accepting it. I installed a dash cam the next day, and I stopped accepting pickups in isolated areas at night. This happened last November in Chicago. It was 11:42 p.m. when I left my friend's place in Wicker Park. I remember because my phone was at 12%, and I joked that if my Uber took too long, I'd be stranded. I requested the ride. It matched almost instantly. Driver name Marcus, 4.9 stars. Dark gray Honda Accord, 6 minutes away. When the car pulled up, it was a dark gray sedan, but not an Accord, at least, I don't think it was. I don't know cars well. It was dark, and I was cold. The license plate matched. That's what mattered. I opened the back passenger side door and slid in. The car smelled faintly like damp fabric and something metallic underneath the air freshener. "Marcus?" I asked. "Yeah," he said quickly. Too quickly. He pulled away before I even shut the door completely. That was the first thing. He didn't confirm my name. I just assumed. For the first few minutes, everything felt routine. We passed through Bucktown toward the Kennedy Expressway. Streetlights, late-night traffic, normal Chicago noise. Then instead of merging onto I-90 toward downtown, he kept straight, away from the highway. I leaned forward slightly. "Hey, GPS says to hop on the Kennedy." He didn't look at me. "Construction," he said. "This is faster." His voice was calm. I checked the app. The route line was still there, but the little car icon wasn't sitting on it anymore, and the ETA hadn't changed. Still 18 minutes. It had said 18 minutes 5 minutes ago. The houses started thinning out. We passed under dark overpasses tagged with graffiti, then warehouses, then long stretches of chain-link fence. If you've ever driven near the industrial corridors west of downtown Chicago, you know how empty it feels at night. No open stores, just rail yards and silence. That's when I tried the door handle casually. It didn't open. I tried again. Nothing. Child lock. "Can you unlock the door?" I asked. He didn't respond. "Hey, it unlocks automatically," he said. "That's not how that works." I pulled out my phone. No service, which made 0 sense. I'd had full bars minutes ago. I opened the Uber app, looked at the driver photo. It wasn't him. The guy in the photo looked mid-20s, round face, clean shaven. The man driving was older, sharper features, slight scar near his ear. I stared at the back of his head. "You don't look like your profile picture," I said. "They make us use old photos sometimes," he said. That wasn't true. He adjusted the rearview mirror and locked eyes with me. He held it just a second too long, then smiled, like he was measuring something. We crossed over a set of train tracks near an empty freight yard. I saw a faded sign for an access road that leads toward the river. No reason to be there. None. "Where are we going?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he reached forward and turned off the mounted phone screen. The Uber map disappeared. The only light left was the dashboard glow. Blue. My heart was pounding hard enough that I felt it in my throat. "Pull over," I said. He kept driving. "Pull over right now." That's when he spoke again. "You're very calm," he said. It wasn't a compliment. It sounded disappointed. We turned down a narrow service road lined with storage containers. He slowed the car, then stopped. Engine running, doors still locked. He didn't turn around this time. He just said, "You weren't supposed to notice." "Notice what?" "That this isn't your ride." My brain tried to process that sentence. "I ordered this ride." "No," he said quietly. "You requested one." That distinction felt intentional. He reached into the center console and pulled out another phone. Not visible before, he held it up slightly. On the screen, a rideshare app interface, but not Uber, a driver mode, waiting for pickup. The pickup pin was still sitting outside my friend's apartment. He had never accepted my ride. He had just been parked nearby, waiting for someone to come out looking at their phone. "You got in on your own," he said softly, as if that mattered. Headlights appeared in the distance behind us, another vehicle turning onto the service road. He noticed. His posture changed instantly. He looked in the mirror, then at me. The approaching car's headlights grew brighter. He unlocked the doors. "Get out," he said calmly. I didn't move. "Get out," he repeated. The second car slowed behind us, probably confused. I threw the door open and stumbled out onto gravel. The cold air hit me like a shock. The second driver rolled down his window and yelled, "You okay?" I turned back. The gray sedan was already reversing fast. Then it spun around and disappeared back toward the tracks. No plates visible now. I realized something. When I had first gotten in, I never checked the front plate. Illinois requires front plates. This car didn't have one. The man who stopped let me sit in his car while I called the police. When I reopened the Uber app, my ride was still searching for a driver. It had never matched. There was no Marcus. I had gotten into a random car because I assumed. Police took the report. They told me it happens more than people think. Drivers or fake ones wait near busy nightlife areas. I used to think I was careful, and I was wrong.